How's it going, everybody? Dead Insights here, and today we are going to be talking about traveling and how traveling can change your life, as it really changed my life really forever. In the background, we got some Trickster gameplay. Now, I don't often play Killer too much, but we're trying to change it up on the channel here every now and then, so yeah, let's get into it. So, I was 18 years old, I'd just come out of college studying PE teaching, and at that time my confidence was quite low. I could never really see myself standing in front of a class teaching PE, so I was a bit lost and didn't know what to do. For those next 2 years I worked many different jobs trying to find something that I could fit into. I worked in construction, I worked in hospitality, I worked in IT and different call centers, and I didn't really enjoy any of them, and none of them stuck. And I was back to square one, I think around 2015, and I realized I needed to go to university to further my education. So I went to university, and when I was at university I got a part-time job so I could save as much money as possible, with the idea of being able to travel. Now, before anyone says, my parents never paid for any travel. They'd always taught me growing up that I needed to earn my own way in this world when I was old enough to, so I worked as hard as I could part-time, and every holiday we got, I would travel around Europe to try and go to as many different countries as possible. I would try fit in with local cultures, try local foods, try and speak different languages, not that I could, but at least try. And just it really opened my eyes up that there's so much more outside my little town where I came from in the UK. Over those next 3 years, I got the itch to try and travel more widespread, to try and go to Southeast Asia. I'd just finished university, and I told my boss at work that instead of going full-time, I'm going to take a 3-month break and I'm going to travel around Southeast Asia. Surprisingly, she told me, go for it, and when you come back, this job will still be here if you need it. It was really nice, and there I was on my way to Southeast Asia, going to the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam and Cambodia. I went to these places with open mindset. I didn't know what I was going to see, I didn't know who I was going to meet, and I didn't really have much of a plan. When I got to these places, I was completely shocked at how different life was compared to European lifestyle and the lifestyle in my hometown. I saw some of the poorest places on earth, and I also saw some of the most beautiful places on earth. I realized that a lot of these locals were super happy to just live in their environment where it's so beautiful, regardless of them not having any real materialistic things. It made me super grateful for where I grew up, and super grateful for my parents for everything they did for me. Over the next 2 months, I traveled extensively, meeting new people, different girls, different nightlives, and different cities. The time came to an end, and I flew back to the UK. I remember on that flight back to the UK, I knew I didn't want to go home, and I knew that I didn't want to live in the UK. I went back to work, and I continued working at that supermarket job full-time for another 6 months, trying to think of a way that I could live and move abroad. I knew that in those months I was thinking about it, if I was going to move abroad, I wanted it to be to a country whose culture was completely opposite and completely different to mine. I really wanted to be taken out of my comfort zone in order to grow some more as a person. At that time, I remember seeing my friend post on Facebook about living and working in Shanghai, and I thought, wow, that's cool. I sent him a message and asked him how it came about. He told me the way he managed to do it, and I got to work on trying to do the same thing. I applied to this company, and after a few interviews and a course and some exams later, I'd been accepted into this position to move to Beijing in China to teach English. Now, as someone who's came from a physical education major, I didn't really want to teach English, but I realized that it could give me a foot in the door. In late 2019, I moved to China, and I was in complete culture shock. Everything was so different about the lifestyle, the way people treat each other, and just everything that you can imagine. After a few months, I began to settle in, and then COVID hit. COVID in China was actually a crazy time, and the lockdown here was super harsh, but it gave me an opportunity. In that time, a lot of teachers left the country and didn't come back. Now, there's many big international schools here, and I managed to get a job teaching PE in one of these. Fast forward a few years, and I've managed to work my way up to head of department in one of these schools, and I feel super fortunate and super lucky to be in the position I'm in. I think it's important to remember that none of this would have happened if I didn't get out there and travel when I was young. I think when we're young and we have no responsibilities, it's really the best time for us to travel and to learn parts about the world. There's actually so many good things that can happen on travels. I had one friend who eventually actually met his wife out there. He was traveling and he ran into this girl, and they obviously fell in love, and eventually they've come back to the UK and they've gotten married. And you can meet people that will end up being your friends for life. You might meet your future employer out there, or someone who might lead you to get a job that you've always wanted to do. You just never know what's around the corner. So if you're watching this and thinking, I want to travel and I want to explore more and I want to experience more, then now is the perfect time to go. Don't delay, don't wait, because time is not promised, and while we're young, we have to make the most of these things before we get commitments and before we have commitments later in life. Anyway, guys, that's enough of me talking about myself. I just wanted to tell you today how travel changed my life and opened the possibility that it might change your life too. Give it a go. Travel to different places, enjoy them, savor the memories. Thanks for stopping by on this video today. Enjoy the rest of this gameplay, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.